Isekai.
The Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 74, Variations. Both siblings, Shen Kaiyu and Shen Miao, had not talked for such a long time about matters in their hearts. Shen Kaiyu had especially found personnel from the army to guard outside the western courtyard, and no one else was allowed in. One shishin equals 2 hours, was not considered long or short, and it was Shen Miao who was listening to Shen Kaiyu speaking. Most likely Shen Kaiyu was trying to make Shen Miao happy, so he kept talking about interesting matters in the army, and also tried to inquire on the side what Shen Miao experienced for the past year, but was avoided by Shen Miao. For some of the matters, it was still not the time to say it now. Moreover, in today's Shen family, it was still not like the past life where the first household was framed, and no one was to believe, if one were to speak of it. With the current situation, if one were to take action, it must be a killing blow. Even it was using a blunt knife to grind flesh, one must ensure that one must be able to skin with it first. After saying a few more words, Shen Miao's face showed some tiredness. Shen Kaiyu was concerned about his younger sister, and quickly spoke after seeing it. "Younger sister have yet to recover, and I will not disturb you more. Go, and rest first, as father and mother will most likely return when the skies turn dark. When father and mother return, I will then come again to take a look at younger sister." Shen Miao nodded her head in agreement. Shen Kaiyu got up to leave, but he suddenly thought of something, and hesitated for a moment before turning back to look at Shen Miao. "Younger sister, you said that Shen King's innocence was smeared by someone. Was that evildoer captured?" "Be it to protect Shen King's reputation, but the Shen residence has guards, so it should have been investigated privately." Shen Miao looked at him, and her eyes curved. "This evildoer is very cunning, and managed to escape." "So it was like that." Shen Kaiyu lowered his head thoughtfully before suddenly smiling at Shen Miao. "That being the case, I will leave first." He strode out of the house. Once he walked out, the bright smile on his face was wiped away, and what remained was a face filled with haze. When the servants outside saw it, they could not help but shudder, seemingly understanding at this point that under the smile, in the bones of this young military official, the blood of steel was flowing through it. He ordered the guards beside him, "Find 2 people to take a trip to Wolong Temple, and also investigate what is happening in the capital." He glanced at Shen Miao's closed room, and his fists clenched, as he whispered, "Younger sister, what exactly happened in this past year?" "In the house," Shen Miao said to Gu Yu, who was walking over, "Bring some money for Chun Tao, and also find a servant to send some money to Physician Chen. This is the most critical time, and that unborn child in eldest sister's belly must stay well." She stroked the scars left by the burn on her arm. The scar was particularly unsightly against her fair skin, as if a portion of highly valued brocade was burned. However, she did not feel upset about it, as if she was satisfied with a business transaction. "The upcoming show will be depending on my unborn nephew, young lady." Jingzi asked, "Why not tell everything to eldest young master just now?" Shen Miao still concealed some things from Shen Kaiyu. For example, the matter of that evildoer being Prince Yu of the first rank. Jingzi said, "If eldest young master was to take action, at least that side would not dare to act rashly, and, if master and Furin know about it, they would also protect young lady. Even if I do not say, eldest brother will investigate himself." Shen Miao looked out the window. "I'm afraid that by this time the circumstances in Wolong Temple had already been inquired, but Can young master be able to investigate? Jingzi was worried. If it was found at the end everything would be known, so what is the use of young lady hiding it? Prince Yu does things rigorously, and, if I guess correctly, the monks in Wolong Temple had already cleaned thoroughly everything inside out. Not to mention eldest brother, even if it was father, they would not be able to find a single tiny hint at all. Goodness! Jingzi covered her mouth. Does it means that the truth of the matter will never come to light in this lifetime? The wicked heart of the second household of the Shen family, the shamelessness of Prince Yu. Initially one thought that once Shen Xin and wife returned, they would be able to stand up for Shen Miao, but, with Shen Miao's words just now, it was almost saying that everything that happened in Wolong Temple had been buried deeply, and the truth would not be known to anyone at all. I originally do not intend to use this kind of fair method to seek justice for myself. Shen Miao lightly said, there are many different other ways in the world to achieve one's goal. Justice and fairness were not even worth more than straws. Justice was restricted from the weak, and for those who are strong, they were the justice. In those years in the inner palace, she understood lots of principles. It was not that there were not any kind and good females, it was that these females were like the flowers during winter, too weak, and could not withstand the wind blowing, and would be crushed into the soil. Since she was taking a dark and bloody route, then the means and methods used during that route would not necessarily be those that could see the light. But, what young lady could do? Jingzi said, at least master and Furen can protect young lady. If it was possible, even help young lady to vent some anger. Since young lady is an unmarried female, even if one were to take revenge, it would be inconvenient. Jingzi wholeheartedly spoke with Shen Miao in mind. Father and mother will be filled with indignancy, and directly go against Prince Yu's residence. Only by retreating can they protect me, and make Prince Yu somewhat afraid of the consequences. Shen Miao said, it is not possible to let the Shen family not harm a single hair when going against the residence of Prince Yu of the first rank. If it was only for the sake of intimidation, then, it isn't what I wish to have. The more Jingzi listened, the more she did not understand. Shen Miao's meaning was not to let Shen Xin take his anger out of Prince Yu, and also not to let Shen Xin deter Prince Yu, but make Prince Yu not put any intention onto Shen Miao. But, looking at Shen Miao, it was clear that she would not forget about this matter. So what exactly was Shen Miao's intended way of handling it? Shen Miao smiled, if one were to offend me, I will exterminate the entire family. Jingzi was surprised, and unconsciously raised her head to look at Shen Miao, but saw that the smile on the lips of the young female that was bathed in sunlight was like the claws of a beast in the deep dark jungles, quietly showing their fangs. Her heart was in shock, and at that moment she felt terrified, and was unable to speak a single word, as she quickly bowed her head in fear, thinking the right words that Shen Kaiyu said, mentioning that in just a short year, Shen Miao seemed to have completely changed. Not to even mentioning Shen Kaiyu, even those maids that were by Shen Miao's side all day were also unable to find any traces of the old Shen Miao. Shen Miao closed her eyes satisfyingly. The people had returned, and the chess match could begin. Shen King was a small soldier, Prince Yu of the first rank was a chariot, and Ming Qi's imperial family was like the white pieces. Whenever the carriage would be swallowed, chaos would descend into the match. Everything was up to the will of heavens. This time, it would be her that was controlling the will of heavens. Meanwhile, in Marquis of Linan residence, even it was currently in the middle of the frigid winter, there were still a lot of flowers in the entire Marquis of Linan residence. When the previous Marquis Furen, Princess Yu King, was alive, she loved flora and fauna. When she was married to the Marquis of Linen, there was great tenderness and conjugal bliss between lovers. Ziding loved Princess Yu King, and renovated the entire Marquis residence to the likes of the princess' courtyard in the palace where she lived. At that time it was a sensation, as it was somewhat amusing to see a general renovate his residence to that beautiful. Later, when Princess Yu King passed on, Ziding still retained all the scenery when Princess Yu King was alive, and gotten people to guard and maintain it. Thus, even after so many years, even during winter, this would not make one feel depressed, even though the scenery was flourishing. But desolateness was caused by people. With regards to the saying that things remain the same, but people had changed, this was a problem that one would not be able to prevent on the road of life. Even if one is forced to maintain things at surface level, things would after all not return to the past. Zi Changwu and Zi Changzhao were practicing their spear in the courtyard. Ever since the matter in the academy examinations, both of them seldom left the residence. First was because they felt that on that day when Zi Jingxing challenged the both of them alone, they had no more face left, so they did not dare to leave the house. The second reason was that their injuries had not fully recovered, and they were unable to do any physical stuff. Speaking of which, Zi Jingxing's actions that day looked light, but they were heavy. It takes 100 days for the bones to knit, and tendons to heal. Even though they had rested for a few months, they still felt somewhat pain. Madame Feng was extremely distressed, but dared not say anything more to Ziding. Even so, Ziding still gave them a round of serious scolding. Thinking about this, both brothers felt so much hatred that their teeth itched. Zi Changzhao swung his arms. That day he was stepped on the shoulders by Zi Jingxing, and now there seemed to be still a faintly aching. He said, "Second elder brother, heard that the Shinzin couple entered the palace today. Now that they had military accomplishments, one is afraid that His Majesty will reward Shenzhen." The two families, Shen and Zi, had always been deeply in disagreement. Zi Changwu and Zi Changzhao did not view Shen Kaiyu as an enemy because of the opposing position the Shen and Zi family had, but, in fact, they view every talented youth in the capital as their opponents, and Shen Kaiyu was undoubtedly the most outstanding talent of them all. Even though Zi Jingxing was also outstanding, but he had no official position, and with Ziding's protection, they were helpless with their plans. But Shen Kaiyu was different. If Zi Changwu and Zi Changzhao had official positions, they were afraid that everyone will compare both brothers with the son of the first household of the Shen family. And what Zi Changwu and Zi Changzhao most hated was that they were not as good as someone else. "What are you afraid of?" Zi Changwu said with disdain. "He is only but a military brute, who only knows about fighting and killing, and is ignorant about matters of the court. Other than Shenzhen's military contribution, what else can Shenzhen do for the Shen family?" As of now, the Shen family is also in the crossbow. It may look good now, but, at the end. He suddenly stopped, and did not continue. "Second older brother is correct." Zi Changzhao laughed, who asked the Shen family to be neutral. "In this world, it is a dream if one pays attention to one's moral uplift without thinking of others. But, many thanks to the Shen family's stupidity, our future opponent will be reduced by one." If the conversation between both of them were known to others, they would be surprised. After all, Zi Changwu and Zi Changzhao had a noble and benevolent image in public, and the Zi family did not participate in the prince's fight for the position of the heir. But, in Zi Changwu's and Zi Changzhao's words, it was hinted that they have entered a faction behind the Zi family's back. Speaking of which, the Shen family is not something to fear of, but there is still one in our own family. Zi Changwu suddenly turned in another direction. That direction was the courtyard where Princess Yu Qing recuperated previously, and currently, it became the courtyard where Zi Jingxing resided. Thinking about the look Zi Jingxing gave him, as he pointed the spear to his head, made a wave of anger surge in his chest. After a moment he then said, "That scoundrel is getting more and more arrogant." He secretly called Zi Jingxing scoundrel, but, if they met normally, he would be very respectful. This made one speechless. Exactly. Zi Changzhou went along with Zi Changwu's words. These days he behaved himself, which made father pay more attention to him. If he was not guided by someone, will there be any conspiracy? Even though it was a headache that Zi Jingxing had an unruly temperament all these years, and did not have official status, the two Zi brothers were secretly relieved in their hearts. But, even so, when people talked about the little Zi Marquis, other than being cynical, they would heap up praises of his heroism on the battlefield. And it was not only that. No matter how Zi Jingxing opposed Zi Ding would treat Zi Jingxing wholeheartedly, but treated them two filial sons lukewarm. As such, the jealousy towards Zi Jingxing grew intense, as the decade went by. Previously, as long as Zi Jingxing was in the Ding capital, there would be a major event every 3 to 5 days, but, after the matter in the academy examinations, it was as if his character had changed, and would leave, and return late, and they did not know what he was busy with. But, this uncharacteristic quietness made Zi Ding very pleased, and even thought that Zi Jingxing had finally put away his unruliness, and began to work seriously. It was because of this that Zi Changzhou and Zi Changwu became even more nervous. Be it be, whoever who was guiding him. Zi Changwu sneered, "At the end, there will be one day where he would be under my feet." In the beginning, that woman was a princess, but, still did not end up well, not to mention him being a son. In short, one must secure the connections with His Highness Prince Ding before the returning banquet. Zi Changzhou said it, as he picked up the spear, and stabbed it ferociously into the haystack in front. At the same time, the protagonist of their conversation was sitting in front of the table in the room. The courtyard in which Princess Yu Qing recuperated, was covered with flora and fauna, and some trees were still lush in winter. In front of the room in which Zi Jingxing stayed, the branches of the trees almost blocked the entire window, that even though during the day, the room would feel gloomy. However, in the gloominess, the youth who was sitting had a pair of bright, as a sunny day eyes. The guards in front handed over a letter, and after he carefully read it through, he threw it into the briquette in the middle of the room. In a short moment, a puff of smoke flew up, and there was no trace of the letter left. "What does it says?" A figure came from behind. The white-clad gentleman comfortably poured himself tea with an elegant attitude, as if he was appreciating tea with someone. "There is a change in the situation." Zi Jingxing did not turn around, and seemed to be pondering about something. "Oh?" The white-clad gentleman's action paused, as he looks over with a groan. "Was not it already?" "Gao Yang," Zi Jingxing suddenly said, "how about destruction before establishing, as only with death does one's course end?" "You do not have this kind of temperament." Gao Yang was initially stunned for a moment, seemingly surprised, before he shook his head, and said, "You are all along not one who likes to keep a low profile, and would ensure everything is finalized before taking action. If the results were not a win, you will not take any action." "I am surprised to hear something different today from the usual scheming you," he asked. Did you encounter anything? Encountered a mad person? Zi Jingxing raised his brows. Made me feel that it would also be good to make a bet. He stood up, and the gold-embroidered clouds gave a faint luster, as he moves in the dark. If one does not look carefully, one would not be able to see it. You cannot be talking about the daughter of the Shen family? Gao Yang was able to draw blood on the first prick. I heard Tai Yi mentioning about the matter that day. Even though it was bold, but it was overly reckless. Now that Shen Xin had returned, one is afraid that with Shen Xin's temper, there would be another round of trouble. The thing is not in the Shen residence. Zi Jingxing said, I changed my mind. Not intending to make use of the Shen family? Gao Yan was somewhat astonished. The Shen family is a big variable. Zi Jingxing shook his head, and the handsome youth brows did not show the normal cynical look that it usually held, but a calm beyond his age. That natural elegance and nobility air covered him, as though there was a layer of mysterious luster, which was more dazzling than the sun. What do you refer to as a variable? Gao Yang asked. Zi Jingxing raised his eyebrows. I have a premonition regarding the Fu family's attitude. The Shen family is the biggest variable in the setup of Ming Qi's future. Gao Yang seems not to believe it, but he ultimately trusts this youth's suspicious heart. He said, how do you know? How would the Shen family be a variable? Shen Kaiyu, Shen Xin. Even if there are domestic problems in the Shen family, it will not represent the attitude of the Shen family. There is an intelligent person in the Shen family. Zi Jingxing said lazily, but fate is too cruel. Why struggle? He said, anyways, there are no changes in the plan, just a change of method. You are not thinking of. Gao Yang was moved. After so many years, I have tolerated for far too long. Zi Jingxing said, because of apprehensions, one needed to tolerate, but now. He smiled in alarm, as if dark clouds suddenly faded, and the sunshine lit up the entire room, making everything else lose its brilliance. Zi Jingxing stood with folded arms, and lightly said, Gao Yang, I am tired of covering up. I will take action in the shortest of time. But, are you willing to part? Gao Yang asked. There is nothing unwilling. Gao Yang sighed, and when he raised his head, he had become determined. Since this is the case, then it will be as you planned. First, hide the information from the side, and start from the Ming Qi side. In the Fu family, who do you think of starting with? Old rules. Toss a ball out. Whoever catches it would decide. He lightly laughed. His fingers however touched something in his sleeves. His heart moved slightly, as his fingers picked out a small delicate bottle. That was the medicine bottle that Gao Yang gave him. The medication inside was what Gao Yang claimed to be a scar-removing medication that thousands of gold would not be able to be exchanged for it. This herbal paste would be able to make a scar vanish no matter how deep it was. He clenched the bottle into his palm, and when he released it, the delicate bottle has turned into broken pieces. Just like what Shen Miao did, a big fire would burn down Al false equilibrium, and expose the ferocious truth. Thus this would then truly become a game where one could make the moves. Shen Miao used her scar to put an end to any possibility of future reconciliations. How about him? His gaze swept faintly out the window to the four corners of the skies in the Marquis of Linan residence. After seeing it so many times for so many years, because of some warm memories, he was also willing to maintain a false equilibrium. Now it was time to break this equilibrium. He closed his eyes, and the long eyelashes were as beautiful as the butterflies in spring, but when they were opened, they looked sharper than the sharpest of knives. On his desk, a map was spread out at the moment. Seeing it closely, this map was nothing else but a clear territorial map of Ming-Chi from the 13 provinces in Yuzhou to the town of Dingyuan in the desert, from the Zhongnan Valley to the Dingzai's eastern sea, from the ancient city of Linan to Luan City, in the middle of the entire territory, was, however, the most prosperous Ding capital. With the surging of the entire country, the world heroes would come forth. He stretched his hand out, and gently touched the center of the map with his finger. It was as if one was deciding the rise and fall of a dynasty.